Hello and welcome to TROGLOTEK's latest addition to our crawler range, an elevator. You have obviously a remote controlled elevator. This extends the use of our crawler system all the way up to be centred in 1 metre pipes or 39 inches. And using the same crawler body we can go down as small as 4 inch. Yet the way the system works is we have a single crawler body to which you can affix 4 inch, 6 inch or 8 inch wheels, and if you want to go into larger pipe sizes then you can fit these wheel extensions on and sets of pneumatic wheels. You can fit the small ones or you can fit, as in this case, the large ones. That brings us all the way up to 1 metre or 39 inches. All the way down to 4 inches using the same crawler. Now first of all, let's have a quick look at the elevator. It's obviously remote controlled, but you might notice there's a couple of bits missing. First of all, there's no coily cable that goes between the crawler body and the camera head. That's because it's all built into the frame of the elevator. Not only is it built into the frame, it also is pressurised. So not only does the crawler body get pressurised, when you pressurise the crawler body, it also pressurises the elevator, camera and light head at the same time. And you get a remote warning if you lose pressure. So you can be absolutely sure that you've got pressure in the system. It also means you don't end up with a coily wire that has two problems. First of all, it can get caught on roots. Secondly, it requires a connector at one end or the other. And so we alleviate all of these problems by having all the wiring built into the elevator itself and it being pressurised. The other bit that's missing, of course, is the lead screw, as it's seen more or less invariably on elevators. A lead screw is a simple device to allow a motor to drive the elevator up and down, but it has a couple of problems. First of all, it's external and get mud and dirt on it and seize up. Secondly, it can get caught on roots as well. Of course, the problem with having an external lead screw is the fact that if it does get jammed up, you can get stuck in pipe work. So imagine you're up at 1 metre and you need to get this crawler out of a much smaller aperture. Then with a lead screw, you can't push the elevator back down again manually. With our system, you can, because it is all balanced. So the actual elevator can be lifted up and down just via the camera head. That means you can quickly get it into the right position as you put it into the pipeline. Now, the reason we can use the same crawler body from 4 inches right up to 39 inches, 100 millimetres to 1 metre, is the fact, of course, we've got the battery actually in the crawler. We've got a lithium cobalt battery here. Got a quick release on it as well, so you can just pull up the catch at the back, remove the battery, put a new one in. The reason that using a battery in the crawler makes this system so much more sense is the cable. Now the cable on this crawler system, everything's on, I've disconnected the cable, there's no voltage on it. It's not dangerous in any way. Now with a normal crawler system, you end up putting about 140 volts in at the top end, and by the time it's reached the crawler it's about 48 volts or so. So cutting into that cable can be lethal. So we've gone away from that altogether. We're using a 4mm cable that's mainly Kevlar for strength, and it really is a tough cable. No need for strain relief, all built into the cable itself. But it also means that everything's safe. So worrying about high voltage on your connectors and cutting into a cable is things of the past with our crawler system. All the voltages are safe. The highest voltage in the whole system is about 17 volts with a fully charged battery. Why don't we need a big cable? Well, the reason you have to have a big cable with the crawler system is because it needs to provide the power to the crawler. And every time you put a heavy cable on the crawler has more work to do and uses more power, which means you have to put more copper in your cable, which means it gets heavier and you need a bigger crawler to pull it. Well, that's not the case with our system. We've got the battery built into the crawler, so we can have a crawler as small as we like to fit in 4 inch, or as big as we like to fit into centred in 1 metre or 39 inches, all using the same control equipment. Now, other benefits of having a battery operated system, of course, it's portable and it's light. So the whole crawler, suitable for going into 1 metre systems, weighs hardly anything. So it can all be picked up quite simply. The thing only weighs about 15 kilograms, ready to go into 1 metre pipes. And it also means it's so much simpler to set up. It doesn't matter if you left the system on or not. As soon as you plug it in, the crawler wakes up, centres the camera head, and it's ready to go. Oh, by the way, if you do get lost, and I know lots of people do get lost with pan and tilt heads, they do a bit of panning and tilting and refocusing to look at the edge of the pipe, and then they're absolutely lost because they have no idea which way the camera's pointing. Not a problem on our system. We've got a home button, and when you press the home button, the camera looks straight forwards and it refocuses the camera so you can look straight down the pipe, so you never get lost. So yeah, the whole system just makes sense. This system that I have here, up to 1 metre use, standard cable drum, 300 metres of cable on it as standard. It weighs 17 kilograms, and you can have it either as a manual cable drum, which is what this one is, and even 300 metres out with a system going into 1 metre pipes. It's so easy to retrieve because we've designed our motors to back wind, so pull out the handle and turn it and we can retrieve the crawler very easily. No need for any power for that. But if you prefer, we've got an auto cable drum that does that all for you, and also always keeps the cable in tension. So if you move the crawler out, it will tension the cable drum will adjust itself until there's a tiny bit of tension in the cable, and it will do it all the time that the crawler's going out. When you come back again, it will drive the crawler back in. It allows the crawler to reverse, but then puts tension on the cable so you don't get any slack. Just press forward and the auto drum will release cable for the crawler, and the crawler will go off and do its survey at up to half a metre a second. So let's go to that speed. And then when you want to come back again, if you hit reverse, then the reversing lights come on, the reversing camera comes on, and the auto drum will start pulling the crawler back in again. And we control the speed of that all the way from just a few fractions of a metre per second up to half a metre a second. So in that situation, both halves of the system, the cable drum and the crawler, are sharing the load. On the way out, by keeping just a tiny bit of tension in the cable, then the crawler itself has very little work to do. It's hardly doing any work at all because it's such a thin cable, and it needs very little effort to actually pull 300 metres of cable. But then you compare it again against a standard crawler system with its large cable, 14, 15, 16 ways, lots of copper, very heavy, and then of course you need a much larger crawler to pull it. That's what the beauty of the TROGLOTEK system is. Battery operated. It's much more economical to buy, much more economical if you have a problem with chopping through the cable as well. This cable can be changed in about 10 minutes, no problem at all. So yeah, the whole system makes sense, and the elevator is the latest addition, which we're pleased to announce now. So if you have an existing TROGLOTEK crawler system and you want an elevator on it and go up to 1 metre, yeah, get in touch with your distributor. You might need the wheel extensions. The elevator only works with the wheel extensions. So if you're doing 4, 6 and 8 inch at the moment, then you'll need the wheel extensions. That will increase your range up to being about centred in about 400 mil, and the elevator then will allow you to centre in much larger pipes up to 1 metre or 39 inches. So it really does extend the use of the crawler. Right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next one.